Hi everyone, it's Annie, and today I will be giving you my Can't Say I Didn't Try book tag. So here we go. Question 1. What is a book that I should have DNF'd? Without a doubt, that is The Snowman by Jonas Bo. It was one of the worst books I have ever read, and it was so long. And I remember just wanting it to end so badly, but I just kept going through because it's a crime novel. So I wanted to know, the ending. I wanted to know the answers, but it was not worth it. It was horrible. This book was really, really misogynistic and just not enjoyable in any way, shape, or form. So I really wish I hadn't wasted my time on this and instead had started something else. Question number 2. What is the most books I've read in a series without actually finishing said series? Now, there are probably a lot of answers to this, but the one that I immediately thought of was the Artemis Fowl series. This was one of my most favorite series growing up in middle school. I absolutely loved it. And I read the first 7 books, and then the 8th and last book I just never read, I guess because by the time it came out, I probably had outgrown the series since it's a middle grade series. And even now I have not finished it. I want to, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the right time. But yeah, so that's 7 out of 8 books in a series, and that's a lot of books to read without finishing the series, but to be honest, I don't really remember much about the actual plot of the series, so I don't know if it would be even worthwhile for me to finish the last book, or if I'd have to go back and reread the whole series first, which, to be honest, I don't really want to do. So yeah, that's that. The next question, who is a hyped author I just can't get along with? This is interesting. I interpreted this question as an author who I have read, or at least tried to read before, rather than an author that is hyped but I'm just not interested in reading. So I picked 2. The first is John Green. Just not into it, guys. I know he's very well loved. I know everything, trust me, I know, but I just can't do his books. I tried Will Grayson. It was one of the worst things I have ever read, and yes, I did DNF that one, actually. I just can't do it. And I have no interest in the sad teens are sad, but maybe also having a romance, but maybe also having cancer. I don't know. It's just not for me, and I don't want to do it. The other one is Becky Albertalli. I absolutely loved... Oh, wait, hang on. I loved the movie. I loved Love, Simon, the movie. But I really was very disappointed by the book. I do not like Becky Albertalli's writing style at all. It's just not my thing. I do not like it. I don't know. I guess this is a spoiler, but to be honest, it's not really an important part of the book. But in the movie, it was left out, and it was so much better for it. In the book, they had Simon and his friend go to a gay bar, and they're way underage, and it's just creepy. It's a creepy scenario, very uncomfortable to read. I don't know, it was just not, it was not it. It is not what we wanted. And I've also read What If It's Us, which Becky Albertalli co-wrote with Adam Silvera, I believe. It's up here, so you guys know. But I don't know. I could tell right away whose parts were whose, and it just wasn't... I just don't like her writing. But I know a lot of people do. So if that's you, more power to you, honestly. The next question is to talk about a genre that I rarely read from. I know you guys are expecting me to say romance, which is true. I very rarely read from romance, but I think actually a genre that I even more rarely read from would be humor, like comedy books. I just don't really read them. I also don't really watch stand-up. It's just, I guess my things that I find funny are very specific, I guess. I don't know. It's just not really my thing. It's not anything that I usually seek out. If I am going to read a book, I want it to be like fantastical. I don't know. And I feel like humor often takes things like from current events as well, which is kind of difficult to read because if it's not like published in the same year that you're reading it, it's out of date. So that's kind of how I feel about it. It's just nothing that I ever reach for. So that's probably my most rarely read genre. The next question is the most elusive book, a book or edition that I just can't get my hands on. And that would be the Subterranean Press special editions of the Ancillary Justice series by Ann Leckie. The original covers are also gorgeous. They're depictions of a ship flying through space. It's very pretty, very well illustrated. But these covers, I absolutely love these depictions of the characters. The first cover is of Breck and Syvarden, and I absolutely love, look at this, guys, Anander Mianai's depiction. I love her sitting on her throne, looking so powerful, but also just, I just love it so much. But unfortunately, these were limited edition, and the few places I found them, they were like $500, which, I'll be honest, even though this is my favorite book series, that is not something I'm willing to pay. So I'll just be content looking at these pictures online. Next up is a book or an author that keeps getting recommended to me that I know I probably won't enjoy. And that author is Sarah J. Maas. I have absolutely no interest whatsoever in reading any of her books. I know they are very popular. The whole fantasy romance, YA, especially fantasy romance, is not something I read. It's just not my genre, and even though these books are so well loved, I kind of wish I wanted to read them because everybody who reads them seems to really, really enjoy them, but they're just not my thing. Just not my thing, unfortunately. The next question is a book that has a better cover in a different country, and that would be the UK edition of Madeline Miller's Circe. I really, really love this edition. I actually really dislike the US edition with like Circe's face on it. I really, really dislike it. I don't know why. I know some people like it a lot, but I love the sparkly, pretty UK edition so much. It's just so beautiful and gold and gorgeous. I love it. The next question is a book that I have only seen the TV or movie adaptation of. This was hard, very difficult, but I came up with The Godfather. I think almost everyone has seen this movie. It's great. Obviously, it's a very, very good movie, but I have not read the original book, even though it's been on my TBR for many years. I never read it. It's just a little bit intimidating, especially because I know what happens. I feel like it's hard to get the motivation to read such a long book when I already know the payoff or the ending for it, so that's why. The next question is a book that I would not want to watch if it was adapted. First, I want to mention a book that already has a movie adaptation that I don't want to watch, and that is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. This is one of my all-time favorite books. It is amazing. One of my absolute favorite books of all time. Perfect in every way for me. And I know it has a recent movie adaptation, and the way this book is written, yes, it is a horror book, but it also deals with a lot of complex human emotions and human relationships, especially dealing with grief. And I feel like this book could be interpreted very badly on screen, and it could turn into just a general, horror movie, which I think would do it a really big disservice. And I have looked at reviews for the recent movie adaptation, and they have not been very good, so suffice it to say that I will be staying away from that. And another one would be a book that I already mentioned, and that is Ancillary Justice. I am a bit torn because I love this so much. Of course, I want more of it. So an adaptation you would think would be a really good thing. But a very big part of this book is that the main alien race don't use different gender pronouns. They just use she. And it's kind of complicated to explain, but they don't differentiate between gender. But the people have genders. They're just not differentiated in speech. So there are points in the series where Breck, the main character, would refer to someone as she, but then someone else is speaking another language, which is made clear, and they refer to the same person as he. And it gets very, very confusing, but I think that has a really special quality to it, and it's something that really shows how different the Radchai civilization is to us. And I think some of that would be a little bit lost if it was translated from page to screen. It would just be a totally different experience, and I'm not sure how it would translate very well. But to be honest, I probably would watch it anyway. Question 10. What is a series that should not have been continued? I had some trouble coming up with this, but I chose the Southern Reach trilogy, which is the Annihilation trilogy. I read Annihilation, and I also watched it, and I loved them both. I really, really enjoyed it, but I have absolutely no desire to continue with the second or even third book with the series. First of all, I've heard that the third book especially is not very good, but I just don't think it needs any continuation. I think the weirdness and mysterious strangeness of it all is what makes Annihilation itself so enjoyable, and I just don't want that to be explained away. And I think, for me personally, this weird world of Annihilation will probably stay in this singular book form. And the last question, what is a trope that puts me off reading a book? I immediately want to say a love triangle because it's just overdone, usually not well done. I mean, there's always the one person who is obvious the main character is going to end up with, and the other person is just there to create some kind of conflict, and it's just stupid. For me, it doesn't add anything to the story. It's not good. But another trope would be like the manic pixie dream girl trope. Really do not like that. I recently read Brave by James Bird, which is a middle grade book, which you don't think would have that trope, but it does. And it's just, I haven't read a book with that in a while because I tend to try and avoid it, but it was just really not good and just like offensive to women everywhere. So yeah, I really wish that male authors would just stop. How about that? Just stop. But yeah, I know that's not a very enjoyable trope for anyone to read, really. So my real answer would be a love triangle, because some people do enjoy those. And I guess if it's done right, it could be enjoyable. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my answers to this fun book tag. It was really enjoyable to do and try and pick my brain and find my answers to these questions. And I'm not going to tag anyone specific in this video, but please, if you're watching this and you'd like to do it, please do so, and also link your video down in the comments below. I'd love to watch it. So thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more bookish videos if you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye!